What 60,000 euro can buy a used Mercedes-Benz, a toilet in Paris, or an abandoned century-old castle? The cleaning of the castle continues. Danny cleaned out the basement alone before. It's actually just a small part of it. The rest is still sleeping in the dirt and waste. Fortunately, Calvin never gave up. Nick is also dedicated to his position, with the help of many friends and modern machinery. How much more efficient than before? Even two people can still have leisure to play. It seems that the workload is still not saturated enough, since the floor on the first floor has already collapsed. It is difficult to clean up, as you can imagine. The current cleaning location is at the center and rear of the castle. I have been renovating the floor where the kitchen is located for the past few days. The left side is still in ruins, with the unremitting efforts of several people. Finally, I saw the tiles in the basement. Countless antique porcelain vases were also dug up during this period, but you wanted to keep the stone pillar in the middle. It's just that the cohesion between the stone bricks has long been lost. The degree of vulnerability is directly comparable to contemporary college students. Keep the removed stone bricks, and we'll figure out a way to restore it later, as the cleanup progresses. The steel beams on the second floor are also due for demolition. Cut it in the middle with a mail saw. It can be easily moved outdoors. Don't look at these steel beams, the surface is seriously rusted. It's worth a lot of money if you sell it by the gin. Nick cleans up the room. Calvin and the other guy just shipped. And the smartest brains, of course, have to plan the whole thing. The root system of the plant penetrates directly through the wall. Come in for a moment. Teach him to be a man without saying a word. In your next life, don't dig people's corners again. Except for the root system of plants. There are no longer a few iron tools that have been cleaned up. You can almost open a waste collection account outside. And after spending 2 days, the dusty basement was finally rebuilt. After going through the first few cleanups, everyone didn't feel the initial excitement. Even Calvin voluntarily increased his intensity. Seeing that several people are motivated to stumble, Danny immediately threw them into the other side of the cleanup. That's the undeveloped room mentioned before. Although the floor below is still intact, but obviously it has no value anymore. To peel off the loose construction waste on it, exposing the rusted steel beams at the bottom. The all that had just been swept out was also reburied. Only one person can work on it. The other one cleans up underneath. At the same time, the kitchen floor can't be left behind either. When you lay the ground with ozone boards, the castle at night has a strange atmosphere. Fortunately, he was already used to it. Insist on laying the last slab, due to the severe weathering of the surrounding walls, unable to support him to continue installing the floor. We had to fill in the missing pieces with bricks, to make the whole look more harmonious. Every stone brick needs to be carefully selected, to ensure that there will be no gaps after completion. Finally, the surface of the mortar is scraped flat. Now it looks exquisite. The surface of the wall is fragile. A shovel with a shovel can drop a large area. Cleaned up construction waste is thrown directly out the window. Fortunately, he is the only one in the castle today. Otherwise, you will have to pay for the high and low, and you won't even have any pants left. As the saying goes, what are you afraid of? It was sunny the last second. In the blink of an eye, it started to rain. Wait until the rain clears up. In order to facilitate the lifting of materials upstairs, Danny fastened the footplate between two bow steels. Then make holes in the floor. The size can accommodate the rope to pass through. Before the remaining building materials arrive, Danny plans to renovate the exterior of the castle. Without any help, the stone piers in the Book of Best can only be carried by themselves. And to take the work further, it is obviously difficult to do it by relying on manpower alone. So the next day, he called Nick. First, help bring down beams indoors. Then it can be pulled through the winch. Drag the steel upstairs little by little. Then the work becomes easier, with the assistance of the lifting platform. Even if it's just Danny alone, it can be easily done. After there is no problem measuring the level. It is also necessary to insert foam glue seal between the gaps. Drill holes in the I-beam the next day, but due to the frequent rain in recent days. As a result, Danny's work progress is very slow. The work alone lasted an entire day. When you're done, you need to pour sealant into the hole. Then the steel bar can be punched in for fixing. Then tighten it with bolts. Then cut off the excess part. You can get the process square wood stuck in it. Also on November 1st every year, Danny's going to a charity in November. Jiaoguanli, they dyed their beards various colors to improve society's concern for men's health. Under the powerful buff bonus, motivated Danny to work. It will be laid together with the floor on the same day. The big tree at the door obscures the view of the castle. Naturally, he can't be saved to see the sun tomorrow. Under the trimming of Old Master Nick, now you can see the scenery outside the window at a glance. Autumn night with a little coolness. Working overtime has become the norm for Danny. The ruins are wrapped in an inescapable silence. The sound of knocking on the wall is particularly harsh. To avoid the collapse of the aisle, Danny Lotus added steel beams to the doorway. The next morning, considering the trees next to the yurt are too lush, so I enlisted the help of Nick, a landscape professional. Clear the surrounding trees one by one. Shoots can be collected and used as fuel to keep warm during work in winter. At the same time, the rusted steel beams are also laid off. There's no more trash. Let the cleanup progress very quickly. And the radiators crumbling on the walls. These are great hidden dangers at work. Then mix the cement mortar. Take advantage of the large number of people now. Repair the external broken platform. Seriously, he has to mark it with paint first. And then you sand down the markings to get rid of the projections, after the surface becomes flat and smooth. To pour mortar and build. The broken place is far more than this. Fortunately, with the assistance of modern machinery, let Danny save the trouble of carrying it by himself. Just make minor adjustments at the end. Turn around the debris that will fall in the basement. Clean up. Danny plans to build a river in front of the castle. That sounds like a lot of work. It wasn't that easy to do. Not only to plan the direction of the water flow in advance, later garden design, also attached to this water vein, if because of where the sidewalks intersect, and build a bridge over it. Finally, right in front of the castle, they even planned a small waterfall to make the castle look even cooler. But it's all based on their imagination. How to implement it later depends on the specific situation. To start repairing the roof, the debris on the wall must be cleaned first. Danny was the only one in the huge castle at this time. Fortunately, this job is not very technical. After cleaning the dust on it, mark along the edge of the wall with paint. It is convenient to fix the ring beam on it later. And as the weather gets colder, Danny's yurt also set brew on fire. Make him comfortable whether he is working or resting. The next morning, the double holes in the dead leaves are already very obvious. Danny gets busy in the morning with his tractor. In order not to affect the later construction of the river, clean up the dead branches and rotten leaves in the courtyard first. The more obvious stones should also be collected. Avoid machine jams during excavation, and you can start following the markers. This kind of work is naturally left to Nick to do, judging by his skillful driving skills. At least 2 years of construction experience is required, and Danny does the shipping. Stack the excavated soil in a unified manner, with the tacit cooperation of the two people. The excavation is progressing very rapidly. At the same time, in order to make the garden more beautiful, a truckload of saplings ordered by Danny also just arrived. Most of them are ornamental cypress trees. There are also some better surviving melon, and a few cinnabar roots and wisteria flowers. I can see that this time it really cost money. The hand holding the bill can't help shaking. Fortunately, there is Nick, the old master's command, with the help of the delivery driver. The planting was allowed to proceed steadily. However, the planting area needs to be planned in advance. Make the saplings as attached to the river as possible. This also saves the trouble of watering in the future, to improve the survival rate of saplings. Even if Danny is still working overtime alone at night, the next day he inserted the landlord on the ground. Build a crawling frame based on this, giving plants like wisteria better room to grow. And as Christmas approaches, when you find a pine branch for your Christmas tree. Meanwhile, the renovation of the castle continues. Since I am busy with the garden during the day, so you can only make time at night. After laying the joists on the ground, the crowd decorated the Christmas tree again. Now it looks like a holiday. The next day it began to rain sporadically, but that didn't stop Danny from laying the planks. With the completion of the top floor, the next step is to start the construction of the roof. Considering that wooden ring beams are perishable, this time it directly suffered from a stronger steel beam. And finally, rigorous, he did not forget to pull up the woodworking line to measure. Make sure everything is at the same height, and there are markings on the walls. You can start working directly the next day. Each board is precisely measured. Make sure the error does not exceed 1 millimeter, and we put it together with a staple gun. And that creates a wall frame. After 3.5 years of renovation, the appearance of the castle has finally changed. And Danny did exactly that. Before the sun sets, make the second fan. Fix firmly with brackets on both sides. The bottom should also be connected to the wooden board below. Next morning, Danny threw himself into the work. The planting on the other side has also been completed. Wait until the last wall on the front is fixed. Everyone works together to stir the mortar. Apply evenly to the edge of the wall, as an adhesive to hold the steel beam on top. In his spare time, Danny will also take everyone to relax. Have a downhill race with friends on the rooftop. However, I advise you not to imitate it easily. Maybe there is a risk of seeing tie-dye. Then apply mortar to the steel tank. Fix the wooden beam firmly in it. Then cut the square wood to the appropriate length. After splicing it together with a nail gun, install it on a wall frame. Make room for the later construction of the roof. Then continue to cut the wood. This card slot is processed at one end, just stuck between the frame and the ring beam. Let the walls show just the right slope. This is also a reference, the way the roof was constructed at that time, with experience in making the first side. But you also become proficient with the movements in your hands. I know my husband works very hard outside the home. The wife occasionally comes over to help. Let Danny feel warm in her heart. From a distant drone perspective, the appearance of the roof is very orderly. The next day a snowflake falls on the earth. The whole garden became white, due to the fact that most of the castle is not covered by a roof, causing snow to fall directly into the room. The saplings in public also wear white snow coats. The shaky branches seem to hold soft clouds. Fortunately, the machine was protected last night. To get Danny back to work today, each square wood is marked in advance. Just cut along the mark. Then, he quickly produced another facade frame. It's dangerous to work on the top floor in the snow. You need to be aware of the movements under your feet at all times. The midday sun becomes full. Danny cleaned the snow on the panels for the first time. This is the main source of power for the castle. All 3 exterior walls are now complete. He is still a little worried. We put shoes on the inside. Even if the actual strong wind comes, don't be afraid. due to the fact that the outdoor temperature is getting colder and colder. To be more comfortable at work, when you put plastic wrap around the windows, although the effect does not seem to be very large, but it can also be slightly block the cold wind from entering the room. There was a light snow last night. The temperature today is very cold. Early in the morning, Danny threw himself into work. Clean up the stones piled up in the kitchen. Uniformly transported to the outside by trolley. Weak from the beginning. It is now easy to lift 100 caddies of granite. Danny's progress is faster than remodeling the castle. The feeling effect is better than D-Health. The body is more cost-effective. Then clean up the fallen residue. Within a few years of buying the castle, he has done almost all the housework in his life. Until the beautifully patterned tiles below are exposed. The old-fashioned stove he kept in the corner. Now is the time to lay off. The main thing is that the feeling has no value in existence. It's better to take it apart directly. Nick has always been a good employee who works hard. No matter how big or small the work in the garden, he will try his best to help Danny complete. The remaining roots on the ground are very stubborn, but in the hands of an old master with 10 years of driving experience. In the end, he can only be defeated in embarrassment when wandering in the garden every day. He also found a swimming pool made of masonry. It will be a good attraction to renovate later, in order to spend as little money as possible. Danny also spent a fortune on a cutting machine. Put the logs cut during this time on it. Just manually adjust the parameters. You can shape the wood into any shape. Considering that the original dining table has oxidized and turned black. Just happened to use this batch of wood to build a new one, when enough wood is processed. Even though it's snowing heavily outside, even the keys are on strike. Everyone still has no intention of stopping. Fortunately, the table is only temporary. The process doesn't require much. And it's just built with treated timber. While waiting for the timber to arrive, Danny cleaned the toilet next to him. Then sprinkle lime on the card slots on both sides. It can effectively absorb the moisture between the bricks. Then the beam can be stuck in it. However, you need to spray anti-corrosion paint on both ends in advance. Further increase the lifespan of wood. After the building materials arrive the next day, two people tied safety ropes around their waists. You can start to plank the exterior walls. It was just a clear sky. In the blink of an eye, it started to drizzle. For the safety of several people, Danny had to suspend her work first. Wait until the rain stops. They just fastened the remaining plates. And then finally, you polish the edges and the corners. Make sure there are no burrs on the cutting surface. You can start laying out a rain cloth. As for the part of the roof, when you're going to take the bamboo shoots approach, treating bamboo shoot heads and harriers on wood, let the two be firmly spliced together. The connection is reinforced with wooden nails. After confirming that there is no problem, reassemble in the corresponding position. The symmetrical layout just serves as a support at the bottom. The roof is designed as a triangular structure. Give it greater resistance to pressure, without outside help. Danny had a little trouble doing it alone. Fortunately, this kid's greatest strength is his ability to endure hardship. Even if it's late at night, get the job done. The next morning, when the golden glow penetrates the clouds, Danny came to work on time at the clock in the castle. After measuring the length of the roof, he immediately spliced together the remaining frame, and then with the help of the elevator, align the frame with the middle groove. Let the two be tightly integrated. The principle is as simple as building blocks. Then the installation of the boat can begin. The wood is passed up through the gaps between the floors. It also saves the trouble of moving back and forth. The job seems very simple. It's actually not that complicated. The two completed it easily in just one afternoon. Considering the frequent rain in recent days, Danny didn't hesitate. Immediately start closing the roof with Nick. Because this kid is too famous locally, a merchant actually gave him a car for free. Most of the equipment is working as usual. It can be used. Not only power tool storage cabinets, and a brand new wood cutter. The remaining small equipment is all available. And he built this cabinet. And an extended tool table. Only in this way can it be paired with this brand new equipment. The roof of the attic is now sealed. Danny patched up the wall next to him. Apply the mortar evenly between the gaps. Make sure no bricks fall. Next day, Danny was invited to participate in a talk show. The host is a Jew of Irish descent. He is also one of the famous comedians in France. He had great admiration for Danny's feat of restoring the castle, and shared some early data, and a few photos of the castle after the fire. Well known. Hundreds of homeless Jews have been adopted here. To child. The news of the burning caused a sensation in the local area. Precisely because of this. When the video of the construction was posted online, Danny can stand out among many bloggers. Ended a pleasant and brief interview. Danny continues to invest his experience in the construction of the castle. I saw him measure the size of the attic door frame, cut the wood to the corresponding length. With the blessing of this set of professional equipment, let him either slot or punch holes in it. The efficiency is unparalleled before. After making the outer frame, it's filled with planks. It is a beautiful door panel. And Danny does exactly that. Build a second identical door panel. However, before installing, I need to repair the walls on both sides first. And then punch the holes. Then pour cement and fix the door shaft. Take advantage of the time to dry. Polish the steel beam above as well. And then you put the panels on. In order to avoid the newly built attic being purchased for 0 yuan, smart Danny banged a handsaws on the door. As long as you rotate the handle, it can be easily opened and closed. The main thing is to prevent a gentleman, but not a villain. Did a big cleaning on the left side of the castle a while ago, before the official construction begins. It is also necessary to clean up the debris that is easy to fall. It has been occupied by various plantations since the beginning. It is now in a state of ruins. As long as you only buy one piece of land in the first place, things were never as complicated as they are today. Then Danny brought the steel beam. To ensure that they are all at the same height, it must be strictly calibrated with a level. The gap should also be filled with mortar. Then put the wooden ends to deal with the card slot. You can get stuck between two I-beams. With the help of Master Nick, let the installation of the joist work very smoothly. Since buying this cutting machine, it's also a lot easier to handle wood. Fortunately, the current location is on the first floor. It's very convenient for both work and transporting materials. Plus, it's all previous projects. It has no ability to operate again. The two of them cleared the ground in just one day. The efficiency is faster than before. I don't know how many times. Then the steel beams on the second floor can be demolished. Frequent wind and rain, it rusts the surface very badly. It doesn't take long to cut the ends. Nick down there has been waiting for a long time. After taking it outside, the other one is also handled in the same way. Then you can replace it with a brand new steel beam. At the same time, clean up the wall skin that is easy to fall off. Avoid causing unnecessary trouble in the studio. Only then can the towing volume be installed. Wait until Danny makes it to the second floor. You can see that the situation here is much better than that on the right. There are even large areas of wall skin that have not come off. Considering the overall sturdiness, sex also needs to be soldered. The measurement is tightly connected to the steel structure within the wall. Then the previous process is repeated. Fix degrain. Every step of laying the planks was in his calculations. And during this time, old buddy Nick never leaves. Not only helped to complete the demolition of old steel beams, Jinghui's work is also fully covered by him. I didn't expect to be just a garden trimmer. Stunned is the feeling of being used as a contractor. Occasionally the wife will come to brush the sense of existence. Although I can't do too heavy physical work, but it's okay to start. As the so-called men and women match. Not tired of work. The wife is responsible for cutting the wood. Danny just stuck the square into the measurement. With the tacit cooperation of the two, the third floor soon had his place. Considering the inconvenience of going up and down the stairs, you're going to build the stairs first. But before construction begins, the old handrail needs to be removed first. Assemble a scaffold for easy climbing. We then attach the upper timber in the middle. Can use this as support. A bracket that extends upward out of a staircase. Same operation below. I don't know if this method is balanced or not, but the build efficiency is really fast. In just one day, there is a rough prototype. In order to avoid air stepping, and you've got to put some European pine boards on top of it. Fix the wooden strips at a certain distance. A simple staircase is ready. The next step is to follow the steps. Build the stairs for the remaining floors. After a simple break, the two began to install handrails on the stairs. After all, it is the main channel for transporting materials. Safety issues must not be sloppy. It looks better now. You don't have to fly up and down the stairs in the future. With the recent warmer weather, Danny bought a lot of plants at the market again. He believes that the transformation of the garden is equally important, especially after the fire here. Need to decorate with more green to regenerate the castle from the inside out, in order to cultivate his son's enthusiasm for labor from an early age. Danny, it will also give them some easier jobs. Compare that to nurturing education. Practice is the best way to help children. At the same time, he also entrusted friends. Pulled up the police investigation report after the fire that year, and some photos taken after the fact. I started in the cloakroom on the right, then it spreads to the left to the entire castle. Police believe it was caused by an electrical short circuit. It burned from midnight to 6 a.m. Destroyed almost everything in the castle. However, since the flame burns from right to left, therefore, the room on the far left was burned down more severely. Later, the original owner also brought out a few pieces of silverware from it. No wonder there are only a few broken cups after cleaning up. It turns out that good things have long been taken advantage of. After learning about the history of the castle, Danny went back to work. When cleaning the debris in the card slot, I just found out that the bird has already made its home here first. Fortunately, he is a caring man. I even made a mark next to the bird's nest to prevent accidental injury while working. And then with Nick's help, carefully fixed the measurement on to save as much time as possible. He would put together the lumber that needed to be treated. You can open card slots at both ends uniformly. Then, it is transported by elevator to the specified height. Then just fix it at the same distance. Under Danny's skillful operation, the installation of the floor joists was completed in no time. Next, he will begin renovations to the rear of the castle. Obviously, the area is larger than the other rooms. The preparation before the renovation will also be much more complicated. The most dangerous is the removal of the radiator. It has its own magic attribute of tetanus. The handling process must be very careful, because when cleaning up the waste before, the load-bearing wall was also demolished. So we had to frame the mold with planks. It is convenient to pour a new base later. Then mix the concrete in proportion. Pour it into the mold built in advance. It requires constant stirring. Quickly expel internal air bubbles. Finally, smooth it with a tool, so that the poured base can be strong enough. While waiting for it to dry, Danny dismantled the old water supply pipe. The basement door is badly decayed. It's embarrassing to stay. It will be a good choice to use it for fire in the future. And the retaining wall at the door is also at the time of layoff, after years of rain initializing. Now it has no protective effect at all. With next day concrete completely solidified, you can use cement with hollow bricks. Rebuild a new load-bearing wall. It's hard to know that my friends are helping me. Danny naturally has to entertain everyone well. Fry a few soft, tender and juicy steaks at noon, so that the two can work harder in the afternoon. Wait until you are full. Nick is solely responsible for painting Gong Zigang. He and one other man continued to build the wall. I can see that my friend's approach is very professional. Don't give Danny a chance at all. As the walls reach their intended height, we have to embed this kind of U-shaped brick on the top. Then put the rebar in it, pouring with concrete. When you're done, apply the surface flat. Once it dries, new steel beams can be arranged. As the saying goes, free stooges top one Jujliang. Even without the help of modern tools, people can also place the beams firmly. It's a pity that Tiangong is not beautiful. A play like a light rain came unexpectedly. After the rain has subsided slightly, a few people work together to move the last beam. Then put styrofoam into the gap. The wider part should also be filled with mortar. Then you can rest assured to get the joist stuck in it. It was laid along with the floor. I saw Danny holding a cutter. Start removing the diversion chutes on the roof. So far they are relatively well preserved. In order to restore the appearance of the castle as much as possible, Danny takes pictures with his phone to keep. I plan to find a professional for a perfect replica, but the immediate priority, or renovations to the interior of the castle. Remove the rusted steel beams on the second floor. And then we do the same thing. Use the lift to transport the new beam up. Although I do repetitive work every day, but just think of the joy of living in a castle in the future. It just gives Danny a lot of energy. Of course, the daily small barbecue can't be left behind either, to make friends work harder. Haha. When the Usong board is laid on the ground on the second floor, and then they went off on a limb. The steel beams on the third floor were also removed, in order to facilitate the transportation of construction waste. Danny also installed this yellow pipe on the balcony. Just dump the trash in it. You can directly lead to the bucket below. Saves the time of running back and forth. It makes the work a lot faster. Look at Kelvin's face. I'm afraid I won't make promises easily in the future. With the replacement of the beams on the third floor, now Nick can also fill Danny's position. Install joists between the two bow steels. Don't look at the elderly who are already nearly 60. But the drive in my bones is no less than that of a young boy. And then finally, you put on the Usong boards. Completed the construction of 2 floors within a month. Not just a severe test of physical strength. It also makes the cooperation between everyone more tacit. And what about the castle gave Danny the most headaches? Naturally, it was ragged to the roof of Wu Yifu's house. Not only are the walls occupied by stubborn green plants, the door eyebrow in the middle of the hall is even more missing. And the wall skin that will fall off with a light touch. There's enough of any one of these for him to drink a pot. But since the full amount has been obtained, it must be too late to change hands. Not to mention the promise to his wife and children. Now I can only bite the bullet and continue. After drying, remove the mold below. You can get the same eyebrow tattoo from 100 years ago. To make the walls stronger, the mold is also surrounded by a baffle above. Then pour concrete into it. Although it doesn't seem like a lot of work, but every time you ship a device online, it is the ultimate confrontation between physical strength and gravity. Remove the baffle of the ring beam after solidification. You can fix the I-beam. As truckloads of lumber arrive, no doubt it made Danny's wallet even more shriveled up. Fortunately, some of it is a fundraiser from netizens. Otherwise, the renovation of the castle would have been forced to stop long ago. And my friends volunteered. Let him not have to worry about labor costs at all. Not to mention the almost all-powerful Nick. When needed, you can directly incarnate as Emperor Wu of Han. Make sure there is no possibility of displacement between the measurements. The area on the roof is very spacious. In addition, it has often rained these 2 days. Brings a lot of danger to the job. Everyone can only wait until the rain clears up. Just continue to start the installation of cooling removal. As the ground is laid with ozone boards, and it took 12 months. They finally finished all the floor work. To celebrate this memorable day, when you find relatives and friends to share the joy in your heart. Entering the park from the very beginning, Lin's moment, shocked by the ruins of the castle. So far, the dream has been turned into reality little by little. During this period, I couldn't do without the help of my friends. It can't erase the bitterness and suffering of countless days and nights. Believe that as long as you stick to your own path, time will give the best answer. Today he plans to start renovating the left roof. Apply the mortar to the bottom of the steel beam first, then transfer it to the wall by lift. The angle of the turn should be precisely controlled. Make sure that every side doesn't show the slightest difference. While Danny was busy with work, recycling workers just arrived. These are all metal pieces removed from the castle. If you sell it, you can probably get your blood back. Without outside help, every step requires him to do it himself. After the steel beams of the 3 walls are fixed, we need to put trees on the ground, bolted to the lower joist. It is convenient for the installation of the wall frame in the later stage. Then he cuts the wood uniformly. After dragging it to the corresponding floor with great effort, you can start to splice the wall frame of the roof. Each log is very heavy. Shoe supports must be installed to better fix them. In order to save as much time as possible, he didn't choose to build the frame on the ground. Instead, it is assembled directly after splicing. To make the roofs on both sides completely symmetrical, but you carefully measure the interior structure on the right. Then you can use the data you get. The delicate treatment of wood. When you're done, prepare the latex. Spread evenly on each piece of wood. Let every part be closely connected. After cutting off the excess, you can cart it in the reserved groove. There are 3 such frameworks. Fix it to each wall separately. There is strong support at the bottom. Then the roof frame can be installed. In order to make the transportation of materials more labor efficient, Danny bought a material hoist, ladder-like rails end to end, up to the top floor of the passage. This makes it much easier to transport building materials such as cement. I saw him wet the walls of the top floor, then pour the stirred mortar. Use a spatula to apply evenly little by little. Make the wall surface flat and smooth. When you're done, you'll have to cover it with duty moisturizer. Avoid cement drying too quickly and causing cracking. After the cement is completely solidified, you have to sand it carefully with sandpaper. To apply mortar to the steel tank, snap the appropriate wooden ring beam into it. Then fill the gaps around. Make the combination of the 2 stronger. And then it's the same as before. Install an overhead screen outside the wall. Connect with the ring beam below. The top is stuck into the top of the frame. Let the exterior wall show a certain inclination angle. At the same time, the triangular structure formed between the inner and outer walls. It can also further increase the overall load-bearing capacity. Summer is a changeable season, sudden rain, so that the toe had to go indoors to hide. Intense work, there is also time to breathe. But the weather outside has improved, and they dive right back into the water. The friend is responsible for cutting the wood below. Danny's up there, he's just laying the ground. With the arrival of the planks ordered the next day, then the sealing of the roof can begin. However, complete protective measures are required. After all, the hole on the roof is very narrow. If you are not careful, you may start the banquet early. But luckily Nick came over in the afternoon. With his participation, just let the work go directly into 5x speed mode. With the last plank fixed, in order to cope with the sudden bad weather, the 3 immediately put tarps on the roof. A row of wooden slats is fixed vertically on the outside. Can play a suppressive role at the same time. Also leave room for later installation of tiles. The main tower head is the tallest part of the castle. It also has the sharpest shape. Climb to the top of the tower. You can see that the surrounding walls are badly damaged. Even some bricks are on the verge of falling. And to start renovations here, you need to build a convenient position for stepping on it first. Still the same operation as before. Insert I-beams in the grooves in the wall. Fill the gap with mortar. Then the joists can be fixed. Now standing at the highest point of the castle, I have to say that the field of vision is really vast. Considering the frequent rain in recent days, to prevent the wood from getting wet from the rain, after work, he would move them indoors. At this moment, the sky outside is lightning and thunder, makes the castle of the original range look even weirder. The next morning, Danny started working, busy slotting the side of the wood. With the help of modern equipment, the grooves look extra neat. Due to the fact that the middle and rear of the castle are one floor higher, the elevator cannot be delivered to the specified height. You need to drag it up little by little with your feet. And you start framing the walls. With the experience accumulated in the first 2 times, the cooperation between the 3 is also becoming more and more tacit. The basic framework on both sides was quickly established. The middle is connected with a longer square wood, so the general structure takes shape. And something different from the previous 2. The roof was a little bit more complicated, except for its relatively large area. There are relatively many places that need to be reinforced. Judging by the old photos, the roof is not a triangular structure. We've got squares on the sides to give the top a unique shape. Then take a closer look at the details above. The walls are also sloped. Therefore, the channel steel needs to be fixed around. And I want to stick a piece of wood in there as a beam. Outside of daily work, from time to time, fans come to watch it live. This is much more real than watching a live stream. I saw the crowd pass through the gap between the floors. Pass the wood up layer by layer. Don't look at this method as a bit laborious. It's not easy in practice. Then cut the square wood to the right length. Can be fixed to the roof as a boat. The main structure of the roof is built. And then there's the angled frame. The 3 people first cut the wood uniformly. Then it can be fixed to the ring beam with a nail gun. Although the noon sun is very hot, but they still insisted on staying in their respective positions. Fortunately, this job is relatively simple, and it took a few people to do it.